Well, good evening again, and welcome to the 2012fad.com. I will be your host for this evening. My name is Charlie Bluehawk. Last night we talked about how to deprogram, part 1, and how I learned, or was guided and led to learn, how to deprogram myself, even when I had no idea what had been done to me, what was going on, where I was going, who I was, anything, where I had come from. Had no idea what had been done to me, none. One of the things I did discover very vividly is that the technology that our masters use against us, mechanical devices, metal or otherwise, and often insert into our bodies, cannot live or function inside of healthy bodies, which is, of course, why they need to poison us. Because I always wondered why our masters were so very desperate, why their need to poison us. And now I know, among many reasons, they, besides knowing that a poisoned body equals a poisoned mind, which equals the ability to frighten you so easily, and of course nothing is easier to control than frighten people, or manipulate rather. Control is difficult, manipulation's easy. Amongst my various wanderings, I discovered that the smallest trace amounts of colloidal silver in the human body causes the physical implants that they put inside of our bodies to fail, to die. And they also are ejected rather forcefully. I'll tell you that story someday. That was quite entertaining. Tonight, I thought we would chat about morons versus automatons. And I'm guessing that your first thought is, what's the difference? Or more correctly, what the heck are you talking about now? Or, why do I listen to this guy? He's nuts. Well, I agree with you on both counts. But, just in case you do not know what the difference is between a moron and an automaton, or even what I'm talking about, please bear with me, and I will give you a little background on tonight's episode. As we have chatted in previous episodes, our masters always prefer to recruit, to hire, the lowest form of human life, which in this case, of course, is the moron. And as we've discussed in previous episodes, the moron is the single most useless of all the human types, whether you're part of the 98% of the cattle or you're part of the remaining 2%, what I call the 2% solution after an old Sherlock Holmes story. In other words, the 2% solution would be you and me. We don't seem to be solving anything, but it's sort of a little hope I have. The moron is a power-mad, totally useless, and completely heartless human being who appears not to even have a soul. Now, the moron actually does have a soul, and someday all of its sadistic crimes will be paid for. Sadly, you and I will not be there to see it. On the other hand, I have been there and seen morons get what they had coming to them. And they're so surprised. They're so hurt. They're so shocked. They are so amazed that someone as nice and good, as wonderful as they are, should be punished for anything. It's not pretty. And then there are the other morons who know that they are morons. They know they're useless. They know that they're power mad. And they know that they have no value to society at all. And they absolutely revel in whatever newfound power they have over the innocent. And then, of course, we always ask ourselves, why does management, recognizing what these monsters are, put these absolutely useless thugs in charge of quote-unquote normal people? It's because management knows what they are. Management recognizes the value of the moron, because the moron will do absolutely anything to be important. It will follow orders without question. Why? Because it gives them power over others. The moron will hurt anyone and then be able to brag about it afterwards, that they got away with it because they have power. And they're proud of it. One power-mad moron I knew laughed his way through the day because he enjoyed spying on our conversations. He read our emails, he listened to our phone conversations, And I knew this. So one day I called him a jackbooted Nazi thug, and he was tickled to death by that. He immediately adopted that title into his job description. Can you imagine? I have no idea where this creature might be today. I have no idea. I can I can fantasize about the dreams he would love to have, raping small children in a kindergarten, beating up old people in a rest home. It's that kind of mentality we're dealing with here. Things he could get away with. Morons are proud of the positions of power they get. And they're just overjoyed to be important. And hurting people? That's a bonus. Sadly, you and I, we all personally know morons. And on more than one occasion, we've actually had to work directly for morons. They have a purpose in our society: to destroy it. So now you're asking yourself, what is an automaton and why is it different from a moron? Well, believe it or not, a moron really actually is a human being. Hard to believe, but it is. And as such, it does have a soul. Now, an automaton is a computer program. It doesn't have a soul. It does not think. It only does what it's programmed to do. Now, in our case, in our scenario that we're discussing tonight, an automaton looks for all the world to be a human being. But it's just a program. It's a meat robot. It's a program walking around amongst us. Now, mostly, as far as I have seen, automatons only have one purpose in our world, and that's to try our patience, to make us mad. In a word, the automaton's whole goal in its existence is to provoke a response out of us, out of those of us who are quote-unquote real. This, as it always does, gets us back to a previous episode where we explored the possibility that we are, you and I, actually inside of a living machine. For those of us who grew up with Star Trek, a holodeck. An artificial world where our living minds are plugged directly into a machine, and where our living bodies are safely lying on a couch in some university classroom somewhere, in the real world, if you would. And we're learning. We learn by living one entire lifetime in a single afternoon, only to wake up fresh and alive and healthy, and still only 19 years old, only to do it all over again the next day. Now that's a heck of a way to teach. Let's be honest, that's amazing. To live one entire lifetime in a single day and wake up and you're still at class and you're only 19 years old. You could live a dozen entire lifetimes learning different languages, cultures, skills, professions, and then wake up. And in waking up, you're at school, you're 19 years old, you unplug from the machine, you go to lunch with your pals. This episode today sort of builds on that possibility. So, if we indeed are living right now, you and me, at this very moment we're in a living educational computer program, there must be a curriculum, there must be a plan. And that curriculum is designed for each of us specifically. Something that we all have to learn in order to pass the class, to graduate, to move on to the next lesson, the next lifetime, moving up a grade, a destiny to fulfill. So, how do we know what our destiny is in this artificial world, this artificial creation we're inside of? Me? Well, at the age of 12, I had an old witch magically appear in the backyard where I was hiding with the people I was living with at the time. And this old witch simply appeared. And she showed me pictures of things I would see throughout my entire life. She gave me phrases and sentences I would hear. And in many cases, these pictures that she drew for me to look at and forced me to memorize at the age of 12, they were so lifelike I would swear to you some of them actually moved as I watched them. Now, I've seen so many of these pictures come to life in front of my eyes in the past 40 years that I cannot discount it. I read a book a few weeks ago that actually had the specific sentence that she had me memorize back when I was 12 years old. It's very filthy, so I can't tell you what it is, but not only was it exactly the right sentence that she told me all those years ago, but the one word in it that was misspelled then was misspelled today. I've had so many instances where I was about to go somewhere and I'm told, don't move, don't go anywhere, wait. And I waited, annoyed and frustrated, but I waited. And then finally they'd say, okay, you can go now. The guardian angel, the dead people, the old witch, something. I'd get a phone call and say, you can go now. And I would then leave wherever I was, and I would run smack dab into somebody I needed to talk to. In fact, there's one woman here in Europe that's been done to me twice, where I was actually ready to go somewhere, the store, a meeting. I like to get to meetings early. And I'd get a call on my phone that says, don't move, stay where you are. Okay. And I'd wait, and I'd wait, and I'd wait, being very frustrated and angry. And then I'd get a call saying, okay, you can go now, but you got to go now. Okay, fine. So I would leave my little room, walk down the corridor, thinking about this meeting that I wanted to have with this one particular woman, and I'm actually rehearsing what I want to say to her. So I was rehearsing it when they called me and told me to wait. And then they called me and said, okay, you can go now. So I'm in the room, going over this meeting in my mind that I want to have with this woman. And I leave my room, I walk down the corridor, I'm still rehearsing this in my mind. I walk down the flight of stairs to the ground floor. I'm still rehearsing this conversation I want to have with this one specific woman. I turn left, I head down the corridor, the sliding glass doors open, so I can go out in the street. I step out of the sliding glass doors, and as I'm stepping out of the building, the woman that I wanted to meet and whom I'm rehearsing this conversation with walks right into me. And that's happened with this one specific woman twice in Europe. And this has been happening my entire life. So I cannot discount the possibility that we are inside of a machine. I cannot discount the possibility that there is a curriculum or a course review that we're supposed to follow. I can't, because it's happened just frankly too many darn times. And like I said, I've seen these pictures, these events that this old witch drew for me as a child so many times. I can't ignore it. I also suspect that by making right or wrong choices on the exam, and apparently we're being tested while we're in the living machine, while we're plugged in. I mean, what else could you do? And I guess because I made the right or wrong choice on the exam, the path I was supposed to follow, my destiny while in the machine, I will never see certain pictures that she showed me, because they are down a road, a path, a choice I did not take. A possible choice that I could have made on the exam, even as I'm living it, as you are. I turned left when the correct answer on the exam was to turn right. A future that I might have had, I might have lived while in this artificial environment, now will never happen. A series of events that will never exist. It's not necessarily that I was wrong, but there was the A or B choice. This would have been ideal for your destiny if you went that way, and you would have gotten a higher grade. Yeah, the path you took was okay, and you will get to the end, but your grade will be lower. Which is right or wrong? I have no idea. Haven't a clue. I do the basic things. I don't want to hurt anybody. I try never to lie to anybody, because frankly, this gives me a headache. The basic things. If someone hurts me, I try very hard not to let that become a part of me and turn around and hurt somebody else to get even. I do what we should all consider to be the right things. Other than that, have no clue. So, if we are inside a living educational computer program, and we're all being trained to graduate, to move on, there's got to be tests for us to pass. That's pretty much obvious in any test, and the tests I've been put through have been just frankly horrific. I hope I'm in the upper 2% of my class, because if I'm not, I'm going to be really pissed, because these have been horrible, horrible tests I've been put through. Exams that we have to take while inside the living machine. So I guess our choices in this life, this artificial reality, which seems terribly real to me, I guess our choices here determine whether we graduate, whether we pass or fail the exam, whether we move on to the next test, the next class, the next life. Or do we repeat this one again, relive this same life? That's a frightening concept. I mean, maybe that's what deja vu is. Maybe that's what premonitions are. We've actually taken this class before, and we failed. Well, we've taken this class before because we want to get a better grade. We feel we can do better this time. And I'm guessing we shouldn't remember, but maybe that's what deja vu is. Maybe that's what premonitions are. Damn, I've been here before. Why? Because I've taken this class before. And some part of me remembers an echo from the last time I was in this classroom, in this entire lifetime. And I can hear you screaming, you mean I've lived this life before? That's horrible. I hate this whole thing. And I have to agree. Something has gone very, very, very wrong with this educational program. I have no idea why, but I know in my heart that this is wrong. There's something wrong with the program. We should not be living through these horrific experiences. We're supposed to be educated, not tortured. We're supposed to be learning to be better people, not beaten into the earth and destroyed and left like living corpses, zombies. There's something wrong with this program. I picked choice A when the correct answer was choice B, and so I'm experiencing a different life, a different karma than I would have gotten, with the correct answer. Like I said, different paths. Which is the right one? I can't tell from down here. I'm inside. Okay, so what does all of this have to do with our friends, the automatons? These lifeless programs designed to provoke responses from us that seem to be human beings, but you and I know they're not. I've seen them. We've all seen them. But we've never, ever allowed ourselves to see them for what they really are, because it's too bizarre. I mean, you've met them, I've met them, we've talked to them, and we knew in our hearts that there was no one there talking back at us. I know you've had that experience. I've had that experience numerous times. So why are they here? Why are they inside this educational learning program with us? I think they are part of the test. I think they are inside here with us, either to guide us in the right direction or to drive us into choices we normally, good or bad, would never take on our own. Mine might be the old witch, old Alice. But I don't think so. She's way, way too real for my taste. Maybe it's one of the instructors on the outside plugged into the machine to guide us. Maybe like on these quiz shows on TV, you can make a call in the middle of the question and, call for help. I don't know. The time difference must be astonishing. Because if we're living an entire lifetime in one afternoon, we're living at a very accelerated rate. How somebody from the outside world could actually plug in and watch and help us is beyond me. So thus, the automatons are here because they live in our time frame. I don't know. But if we are, you and I, right now inside of this educational 3D teaching program, and we're all being trained and then being tested on what we learn, and then we're being graded. I guess we'll either move on to the next life, the next class, or we'll be held back to go to repeat another course, say, living as a pig on the same farm where you were here today. You were the farmer, and you abused your animals. So now, you're going to learn what it was like to be an abused animal. I think that's fair. I got no problem with that. So I guess it's sort of like being sent to detention. And I'm guessing that this time when you come back as a pig, which ties in directly with Hindu and Buddhist beliefs of the circle of life, reincarnation, this time I'm guessing you'll learn your lesson. Be nice to people. Be your animals. They're feeding. Give them a good life. Me, personally, all I'm hoping for is recess. And in the meantime, we are trapped here, you and I, and we still need to eat, we need a place to live, and we need people to love. So if you want to see how this program, this lesson will end, come up with lots of cash and join us at the village. It's only funny money. It doesn't really exist because none of this is real. But it sure as hell feels real to me. I admit to being, personally curious how the program will reset itself and give us a brand new world, real or otherwise, in which we're going to live. Have happy, healthy babies in, and to learn, and there's that word again, what it is to really be human beings. I'll see you there. For all of us here at the2012fad.com, this is, or isn't, Charlie Bluehawk, wishing you a really good day and reminding you, please keep that at least one good thought. The 2012 Fad is brought to you by Coffee and Blood, Love Letters Between the Dead, a series of 5 erotica horror novels about a fallen angel finding his way back to regain his own soul, and how the CIA war against the human race, their black magic, captures and traps him in the body of a mind-controlled slave designed to hunt down and to kill their god, their Satan.